the gladiator mentality, and people look at us like, okay, really? Or, yeah, really.
All right, let's do this. Diamond Envy Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler McComas, live on YouTube. And of course, coming to you in the traditional way, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. As just a few moments ago, OU softball is the first team in college softball to clinch a berth in the Women's College World Series. So here's what I want to do to start off on this Friday night, whenever you're listening. And I don't care if you're listening to this, watching this live on Friday night. I don't care if you're listening to this Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening, Sunday, or even Monday because you got the day off. Here's what I want you to do if you're an OU softball fan. I want you to take just one moment and live in the moment. Be present and recognize that what we've been witnessing and what we're witnessing once again is very special with this team. Just kind of take a second. I'll wait on you. Take a second here. Take it all in. OU softball, once again, is heading to the Women's College World Series. Never take this for granted. Just have that thought, have that feeling before we get any further here. This team, once again, is going to Oklahoma City, the true mecca of the sport of softball. And they've got a chance to defend their crown once again. They got a chance to win 4 straight. It's awesome, guys. It's awesome following this team. It's so much fun following this team. And this year has been a little bit different than the past few years. Feel like there's been more questions during the regular season. What's wrong with this team? Why are they losing a series to Texas? Why did they lose like that to BYU? How did they lose at home to Oklahoma State 2 out of 3 games? There's been more panic this season than I've seen in the past. I mean, it's been a while since I've seen a level of panic from the fan base than what I saw tonight. But look, tonight, all those problems seem very distant, don't they? Because this team just played another very solid game, and you're heading to Oklahoma City. You are one step closer to another national championship. And I'm telling you, I think that this team, whatever happened against Oklahoma State, I don't know what happened after that Saturday loss. That team brought it on that Sunday win. This team has looked for about 2 weeks now like it's ready to win that next national championship. Is the gap a little bit closer than what it's been in recent years? The answer to that is yes. There's some really good softball teams out there. And we'll talk about some of those other softball teams who are playing in super regionals right now. But OU is playing its best ball. They look really good. And I feel very good about this team defending its national crown as it goes into Oklahoma City next week. But let's talk about the game, okay? Because there's a lot to break down. And first off, let me say this. If there's a better center fielder in college softball history, I would love to know who that name is. And I really mean that. I don't want to have the hot take here of Jada Coleman just had another unbelievable catch over center field. She's the greatest center fielder in OU history. She's the greatest center fielder in college softball history. I'm genuinely asking people out there, have you ever seen a better center fielder, not only in OU history, but in college softball history than Jada Coleman? Because when you look at the offensive numbers that she's had consistently throughout her career, and when you match that with her talent defensively in center field, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head that's been a greater center fielder that I've seen in my lifetime playing college softball than Jada Coleman. And there's been some other great center fielders that have played this sport. And no disrespect to those players. I've just never seen anyone like Jada Coleman before. And maybe we never see anyone like Jada Coleman after she leaves. But that is just that's a different level of talent that OU has in center field. I mean, it really is. I mean, she robbed another home run ball last night in a very critical point of the game. OU won 4-2 last night. Or, excuse me, 4-2 tonight. That ball gets over the wall, which it does on 99.9% of center fielders. That's a one-run game going in the last inning, and who knows what happens there. I've never seen anyone like Jada who just routinely brings back as many home runs as she does. And I put this out on my Twitter page during the game. Guys, I can't think of a time where Jada literally had a decent opportunity to go rob a home run. I can't remember a time where she didn't make that play. Because the only times that I remember throughout her career where she's had those opportunities, she's made those plays. I've seen it live when she did it in the national championship game against Texas. She's done it so many times throughout her career. Guys, I'm serious. And I'd actually like to go through her entire career and go back and look at some of those plays she did against Cal last year in a regional. I cannot remember a time where Jada Coleman has had an opportunity to rob a home run ball in center field and she hasn't made that play. It's like she made that play tonight, and I said, "Well, yeah, Jada always makes that play." That's how spoiled I am. Is that if it looks like that ball's getting out of the yard by about 5 feet, well, Jada's there and Jada's going to bring it back. That's how incredible of a center fielder she is. And you just don't see you definitely see robbed home run balls in softball. Like that is a thing. But you don't see it to the level that Jada Coleman does it. I mean, you really don't. I think she's done it at least once every single year that she's been at OU. That's as good as it gets. And that was a massive, massive play tonight. I got my little rundown sheet here. Yeah, it was in the bottom of the fifth. Bottom of the fifth. What was it? A 4-2 game in that spot. Could have been a 1-run game in that spot. Jada brings it back, and just that place went crazy. The momentum that you had after that one. She's special. She's special. And maybe we never see another Jada Coleman again, but she's big time. Okay, let me run this down inning by inning here, and we'll get to some more post-game thoughts. Kirsten Deal started, and hey, if you listen to the podcast after game one, I got one right. How about that? Blind squirrel finds a net every now and then. But I did think KD would start because she didn't get to pitch in a regional. Patty wants to get her valuable post-game experience. She's going to be one of your headline starters next year. And I thought what she gave you tonight was good. I don't think that Kirsten Deal was exceptional tonight. I don't think Kirsten Deal was elite tonight. But in the 2 1/3 that she gave you tonight, Kirsten Deal was good. And she was certainly good enough for sure. I didn't love that you left the bases loaded in the first inning and you had just one out when the bases are loaded. I really wanted this team to put this game away early, selfishly. Now, I've told you many times, so I'll practice what I preach here. Never complain about a win. And never complain about a win that's getting you in the Women's College World Series. So I'm not going to do that for a second. The last thing I'm going to do is be critical about this team or complain about anything that happens tonight. They beat a really good Florida State team. They swept them in the Normal Regional. We going back to OKC, okay? But I thought that was an opportunity for OU, had the bases loaded one out, to really kind of, put the pressure on Florida State early in this game and maybe even open up. And it's just kind of funny how this series lasted 2 games, and the first inning of both games were actually really big. Florida State in game 1, they left a lot on the table. And then, of course, the first inning tonight, it felt like OU left a little bit on the table with the bases loaded. The third inning. Does anyone like old school softball? I like old school softball. Me and my pal Gunny were DMing back and forth on Twitter about a little old school softball that was going on with this team going into the third inning. Ella Parker got in the rundown, scores the runner from third base. Runner at first and third with one out. You would think this team, who's so good offensively, has so much power. You'd think Patty be like, swing away. Let's go. Just go hit one in the gap and maybe we'll score 2. But a little old school softball there, and I don't hate it. I mean, it worked out. You got the 1-0 lead. You got the run on the board. You took the lead there. That was a big momentum shift, it felt like. But a little old school softball, which was fun. You took that 1-0 lead. And then again, in the bottom of the third, top of the third after that. Bottom of the third. I'll get it right here. Bottom of the third, Carly Keeney came in with 1 out and a runner on first base. So Kirsten Deal goes 2 1/3. Carly Keeney comes in. And I'll be honest with you guys. Where I was right, I thought Kirsten Deal was going to start. And I thought Kirsten Deal, I really didn't have the thought going into the third inning that Kirsten Deal was a hitter away from getting out of the softball game. I thought Kirsten Deal was going to give you 5 innings, 6 innings, maybe even a complete game tonight. So when Carly Keeney comes strutting out of the bullpen with 1 out in the bottom of the third inning, I was surprised. I I don't know about the rest of you that I was very, very surprised when she came out of the bullpen. But Carly Keeney, for the most part, she was solid. And I thought overall the pitching was really good tonight. And we'll talk more about KD, we'll talk more about Carly Keeney, and we'll talk more about Nicole May. But just kind of as a big picture for the pitching staff tonight, you threw three pitchers against a good Florida State lineup. That's one of the better offensive lineups that you have faced this year. It's not the best, but it's one of the better lineups you faced this year in Florida State. And you were able to throw three pitchers, none of them your ace, none of them Kelly Maxwell, and you were able to hold a good Florida State lineup to just 2 runs. So individually, I think they were all kind of, just solid. Each, I guess, outside Nicole May, had their mistakes a little bit from time to time. But collectively, I thought that was an awesome effort. Awesome effort by OU's pitching staff. And now you feel really good about this pitching staff going into OKC. I mean, think about it. I mean, you feel great about Kelly Maxwell because you should, because she's been great all year long. You feel great about Kirsten Deal. She gave you 2 1/3, just allowed the 1 run, right? And Carly Keeney came in and looked good. Nicole May came in and looked good. And I'm saying that Kirsten Deal gave up a run. I don't think that she did, because now that I look back at my game sheet, I don't know why I thought she gave up 1 run. It was 1-0 when Carly Keeney came in the game. So now that I think about it, a lot better outing from Kirsten Deal, even though we don't, have 4 innings, 5 innings of sample size to go off of. Top of the 4th inning, it was 1-1 in the top of the 4th inning. You had the 1-out single by Riley Boone, not able to do anything with that. I kind of thought that would be a big inning. Top 5, though. Top 5 was very, very important. And much like last night, when the game was close, when the game was tight, when the game was tied, this team made a decision. Last night, it was 2-2 in the bottom of the 3rd inning. This team made a decision. Let's just go put up 3 runs, and we're going to end the game here. We're going to distance ourselves. We're going to make a move in this bottom half of the inning, and let's just go ahead and win this game. And they did. Ended up run-rolling Florida State 11-3. Maybe you heard about that. Scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Tonight, the top of the 5th kind of felt the same way. A little bit later in the game, but once Jada got that leadoff single, I said to myself, okay, it's a 1-1 ball game. I feel like OU is going to do some damage here. Jada gets the single. Ella Parker hits the double. Jada gets the 3rd. So you've got 1st and 3rd. Pass ball. Jada, of course, scores. And then there's I think there was maybe a pitching change after that. The Six Flags song is playing. Does anyone else think of Six Flags when they hear that song? I do. And everyone in the dugout was dancing. It's a 2-1 game. You don't have a commanding lead. But I love that this team just has so much fun. They're loose, relaxed. And that's when this team is at their best. When Patty Gasso says when they just get lost in the game. And they just kind of got lost in the game and they had fun tonight. You could really see, even though it was a close game, even though it was a big game, that team felt loose and that team felt relaxed. And then the big moment happened after that. Cassidy Pickering, biggest moment of the night, hits the 2-run bomb that puts OU up 4-1 in the game and essentially ended things. Now, I'm not trying to give you guys a hot take on this Friday night. It's not really what I'm here to do. I'm really here to break down this game, celebrate with you all that OU's heading back to OKC. I'm not trying to give you a hot take. So I'm not going to give you a hot take because I don't think it's a hot take that before the end of her career, Cassidy Pickering is going to be an All-American. If you are good enough as a true freshman to not only break in the lineup, but be hitting kind of towards the middle of the order in this lineup as a true freshman, you're special. It was always going to take a special freshman or two to break into this lineup and on an everyday basis. You've got to be so, with as much talent as this team had returning from last year, a team that's won 3 consecutive national championship games and had a lot of seniors coming back, you had to be really good, really, really good to be in this lineup on an everyday basis. Cassidy Pickering's that good, and she's been that good for a long time. She's great in right field. She's great at the plate. Guys, she's going to be an All-American before her time's done at OU. I'm just telling you. And here's the thing. When I say that before her time's done at OU, I don't expect her to be an All-American when she's a senior. I would expect it to be not only a lot earlier than her senior year, I think it could happen next year for a player like Cassidy Pickering. In that spot, in a super regional game where runs are a premium for both teams, and it's the true freshman who hits the 2-run home run, the biggest play, the biggest hit of the night, she's ready, guys. Like, and I don't think I have to sit here and convince you of that. Again, it's not a hot take. Cassidy Pickering is going to be an All-American by the end of her career. And it's not going to take her until her senior year to do that. And I can echo the same thoughts on Ella Parker. The same thoughts on Ella Parker. So these true freshmen that have really contributed this year, it's been a lot of fun to watch. It's been a lot of fun to watch this team. Unbelievable. So, yeah, you take the 4-1 lead going into the bottom of the 5th inning, and Jada makes a play. Jada makes a play that we've seen so many times throughout her career. She robs that home run. When has she not done that? Again, I'll say it again. I've seen it so many times with Jada. I can't think of a time where she hasn't come up with that play. She is truly, truly that special. Florida State gets a home run after that. I thought that ball was foul live, but they go back and review. Well, they kind of review. They showed the replay on television. I guess it was a fair ball, but live I thought it was a foul ball. Whatever, no harm, no foul. 4-2 game, and then we go to the 6th inning. Intentionally walked Tiare Jennings, and that's where some craziness happened after that. Maya Bland got caught in a rundown. Thought that was going to end the inning. It did not. She's trying to go to third, trying to be aggressive. I get it. Trying to contribute. Didn't happen. Call got changed because of obstruction. Interesting sequence in the game for sure. I thought Maya Blaine was out, and I thought that there were going to be a lot of people that were very critical of her. But all good. Didn't get that run in the 6th inning. If you wanted to be critical of this team, and I'm not going to be critical of this team, they're going to OKC, but left too many runners on base tonight. Can't be something, can't be the norm going into the postseason, but left a few too many runners on base tonight. I know that's been an issue at times. I just feel like once we get to OKC, the way the pitching is, the way the defense is right now, this team's going to be okay. But that was the one flaw of the evening. They left a lot of runners on base. And you go back to the first inning for that when they left the bases loaded in the top of the first inning. Nicole May was fantastic tonight, guys. Nicole May was so good, and I love to see Nicole May perform at such a high level. And what was her last game at Love's Field? Golly, is that not sobering? I know it took me 18 minutes to get to that, but is that not sobering that it's this group's I mean, that historic group, which will go down as maybe the best class in college softball history. Final time we're going to see him at Love's Field. Man, that hurts a little bit sobering. But Nicole May was fantastic. Nicole May was so good, and it's Nicole May that we expect to see in the postseason now. I mean, she's just that type of player. But all around a great night. Sid Sanders in that 6th inning had a great catch. Nicole May mowed him down. Just happy tonight. Happy that this team makes it back to OKC. And they're a handful of wins away from going to win another national championship game. So all is good in Sooner Land right now. You are back exactly where you want to be, the home away from home, and getting ready to play for a national championship. But I feel good about things. I really do. I know the offense wasn't as impressive as it was on Thursday night, but the pitching was really good. And that's the thing about this team. The defense is always going to be consistent. The defense is always going to be consistent, and it was really good tonight. But you're always going to get one of two things, seemingly. Either the pitching is going to be really good or the offense is going to be really good. And both of those things are good enough to beat a lot of really good teams on their own. But when both of them combine, when you have a really good pitching night, a really good offensive night, forget about it. You're not – I mean, this team's not going to lose to anyone in the country. It's just not going to happen. So my expectations, once again, are high heading to Oklahoma City. Can't wait until next week. But a good all-around series, 10 out of 10. You beat Florida State. You beat that program, who's been one of the best college softball programs over the past 5 years. And isn't it crazy that OU's ended FSU season 3 out of the past 4 years? 3 out of the past 4 years, OU has ended Florida State's season. That is a really good program. And if it wasn't for OU, I mean, Florida State has a couple of more national championships. Lonnie already has one at FSU. FSU might be the best thing going on in the sport if it wasn't for Oklahoma. They'd have about 3 national championships in the past 6-7 years, which is insane. Let me run down some super regional scores before I get out of here. Of course, OU's going to the Women's College World Series. I don't know if you heard. I don't know if you bought the T-shirts yet, but that's happening. Oklahoma State is up 1-0 on Arizona. 8-0 win in 5 innings. Of course, Arizona, one of the blue bloods of the sport, but they're running into a good Oklahoma State team in Stillwater. Texas A&M, the big upset of the day. The number 1 seed goes down. And Texas fought back the last 2 innings. They had a grand slam. They had a solo home run, but it wasn't enough. Texas A&M 1 win away as a 16 seed from advancing to the Women's College World Series. I want Texas. I want Texas really bad. I want Texas really bad in Oklahoma City. I'll feel all sorts of good if OU sees Texas again in OKC. Want it to happen. Same thing with Oklahoma State. Let Oklahoma State win. How about that as a Big 12 a national championship, your 4th consecutive? You get to go through Oklahoma State and Texas. I'm down for that. Tennessee rallies the 3 seed. They beat Alabama 3-2. Vols are 1 win away from a Women's College World Series. If you listen to the radio show, you know I hate Missouri, Mizzou, Metzu, whatever you want to call them. They lost to Columbia today to Duke. The 7 seed Missouri lost to Duke at home. I kind of want to see Missouri, though, in Oklahoma City, to be honest with you, to kind of shut them up. But Duke is 1 win away. Duke's a good team. Duke's a scrappy team, chip on their shoulder, 1 win away from OKC. 4 seed Florida over Baylor today. Gators are 1 win away from OKC. And at the time I'm recording, UCLA's up 2-1 over Georgia. Bruins could be the 2nd team in Oklahoma City if they win that game tonight. And LSU's got an early lead on Stanford, the 9-8 series. Wouldn't mind if Nyjah Kennedy's not in OKC. Not scared of Stanford. I think that OU could beat Stanford, but Nyjah Kennedy's really good, as we saw last year. But seriously, guys, if you didn't do it before, take a moment, whether when you're listening to this podcast or not, appreciate the moment. This team's heading back to play for another national championship. We look forward to this all year long. And I'm sure a lot of you are already looking for tickets to what I still call Hall of Fame Stadium next week. But you got a shot. You got a shot once again. You're in Oklahoma City. Life is good as an OU softball fan. All right. Love you guys as always. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for always tweeting out the link to the podcast. It really means more than you know. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube page, please like and subscribe. Just Tyler McComas, last name spelled MCCOMAS. If you're watching this live, if you're watching this video on demand, please like and subscribe as well. Going to be doing a ton of softball content here as we get closer and closer to Oklahoma City. Some more guests previewing this thing. I'm talking about the rest of the field, talking about this team. And, of course, we'll mix in some OU baseball, some OU football talk as well. But the number 1 show in town right now, it's OU softball. It's OU softball. Patty and the GOAT once again back at it. Got a chance to do it at our home away from home. All right, you guys have a great and safe holiday weekend. Might try to pop back in here maybe tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, and kind of share some, day after thoughts. But really, offense left too many runners on base. You're getting a lot of runners on base. I mean, that's the good part of that. Pitching was fantastic tonight. I mean, you threw 3 pitchers. I thought you were going to throw 2. I thought you were throwing Kirsten Deal and Nicole May. I thought that's as many pitchers you were going to throw. But you threw 3 pitchers tonight. None of them your ace. And you held a good Florida State offense to 2 runs. All in all, that was a very, very good outing by the pitching staff. Very good outing by the pitching staff. Cassidy Pickering is going to be an All-American. Shada Coleman, unless proven otherwise, and I have not been proven otherwise as of right now, is the best center fielder to ever play in OU history and college softball history. and she just made another crazy web gym tonight. Awesome, awesome night. And for those of you that are at Loves Field, I'm jealous. It looked like an insane crowd at Loves Field tonight and a whole lot of fun. All right, I'll talk to you later this weekend. Have a safe Memorial Day weekend. Love you guys. You've been listening to the Diamond Envy Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler McComas.